Excuse me. Hello there. That was a little bit of one drink for my opening, but hello there. Scotty, you're not, and happy Father's Day to all the papas out there, like myself. And last year I reviewed the first two Stepfather movies, with my plan being to review the other two this year. Totally spaced it, got away from me. I realized a couple days ago, shit, I have to do a Stepfather review. Shit, I was going to do both of them, so I looked it up. Couldn't find the remake streaming anywhere for free. So, so we got Stepfather 3, which was a tough watch. I mean, it's long. It's the longest one of the original three, at an hour and 50 minutes. The other ones were like 90 minutes long. This thing's 50 minutes. And also, what adds to the longness is that there are moments where there's just lulls. It's kind of boring. And the actor they got, Robert Whiteman, to portray Jerry in this. And yes, I said this in my last two reviews. I'm going to keep calling him Jerry, because Jerry Blake is the name he started out with in the first one. And that's just what I'm going to keep calling him. So if you think, well, no, his name is, technically it was Gene in the second one, and here it's Keith. Well, just know when I say Jerry, I'm talking about the Stepfather. It's easier for me to know him as Jerry, so in this film, Jerry somehow, again, survived a stabbing and ended up in the same institution as before, and what do you know, he got out. So now he gets plastic surgery, because I have to explain why he looks like Robert Whiteman now, and then kills the plastic surgeon so that, you know, he can't let it slip, and then goes to a new fictional place, Green Acres or something like that, Green Valley, I don't know, to start a new family and continue his killing spree. So, yes, this was a made-for-TV movie, originally aired on HBO back in the 90s, 1992, and yeah, that was like HBO was a regular cable channel, at least in my neck of the woods here in Minnesota. It was Channel 4 back then, until they decided, oh no, it has to be a premium channel and you gotta pay extra for it. Why? But yeah, and as such, there is some TV actors in it. Robert Whiteman was the second John Boy on the Waltons. His love interest, Christine, is played by Priscilla Barnes, who was the third Christy on, for lack of a better term, on Three's Company. Basically, it's what it was. They had Chrissy, then it was Chrissy's cousin, and then she came along as Terry, which is funny. They couldn't get Terry O'Quinn, so they got this Terry. Terry O'Quinn, after having problems with his second film, being too much of a slasher film instead of a thriller, did not reprise his role, which is what we have Robert Whiteman's performance of trying to be Terry Quinn, but not being Terry O'Quinn. There's some lines in his delivery that sounds like he's trying to mimic how Terry Quinn would do the scenes, but it's not the same. And even his freakouts come off as more of a desperate trying desperately to be Terry O'Quinn, but coming off as a child who didn't get his way. Where I know that Terry O'Quinn was kind of like that too, but he did it in a way where you knew he was pissed, and this was, you know, this was his turning point. This was when it was all going downhill, and he's losing his mind. He's on the brink of doing it. And that's how good of an actor Terry O'Quinn is. This guy, he's okay, but he's not as good as Terry O'Quinn. And they have the audacity to keep him whistling the song, because if he didn't, it wouldn't be the same guy. And I've watched other reviews of this, right? And they point out a few things. They point out that they shouldn't have done the plastic surgery angle and just had him continue as the stepfather and not mention it. But with the plot point of, them showing Jerry's photo on the news and stuff. Unless they were going to have it be Robert Whiteman's picture, then it could have worked. But I like the whole detective thing from the kid. You get more stepfathering in this than the other two. The kid actually has a lot to do. Although the plot line with him being in a wheelchair due to a car accident or getting hit by a car or something like that to that point. And then all of a sudden at the end, he's able to walk again. Writers of this movie, that's not how paralyzation works. They're like, oh, it's just psychosomatic. It's in his head. No, it doesn't work that way. You can't not walk because you don't believe you can't. That's not how it works. It's a physical broken spine thing. It's not in your head. And I know you said, oh, well, actually, every one of your movements is controlled by your brain. Yes, but it's not psychosomatic. If I suddenly think, oh, my pinky is not going to be able to move ever again, it's not going to work. If I suddenly think, oh, my legs don't work, I'm not going to be able to stop walking. You know, that's not how it works. And, like, they talk about it, and then, like, there's a scene where he's playing ball with the kid, and the kid falls over because he's in a wheelchair, and he's like, come on, get up. I'm like, no. He's in a wheelchair. Come on, you can do it. I can't. He can't. He's in a wheelchair. That's not how paralyzation works. You can't just brush it off and say, oh, it's just in my head. That's not how it works. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way at all. But apparently in this movie, it does. Because the end of the film has him standing up from his wheelchair to finish off Jerry by pushing him in the wood chipper, and that's how they killed him up. They decided, you know what, we're not going to be able to do anymore after this. Terry O'Quinn's gone. We know this is only direct-to-TV. It's not going to do gangbusters, so throw him in the wood chipper, kill him off. He can't come back from this, even though he technically shouldn't be able to come back from the first two deaths, being stabbed and flying down the stairs and then stabbed in the chest with a fucking hammer, but who knows. I do like the plotline of getting plastic surgery to do things. It makes more sense that he would keep continuing and no one would be the wiser because he would look different. Whereas in the other ones, he was putting like hair pieces and mustaches, and I don't know. That's a little too easy to just, wait a minute, if he took off his mustache. It's like, I'm Clark Kent. No, I'm Superman. No, I'm Clark Kent. No, I'm Superman. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. Like mustache, no mustache, Jerry, not Jerry. Jerry Jean, Jerry Jean. Jerry Jean, Jerry Jean. You know? And I do kind of like that, but with the plastic surgery. Although, he kills the plastic surgeon so he can't tell anything. And when that plastic surgeon comes on the news, that's when the son realizes, oh, this must be Jerry. This must be the killer because he saw the scars on the back of his neck. So... You know, and another thing that I've seen people poke at in this movie is the whole him having, you know, he marries Christine and then he starts seeing this Jennifer, and they're like, oh, what is he planning on doing? You know, killing Christine and the kid, and then just staying in town and living with the other woman? And no. I do have a criticism that how, like, Christine starts figuring out about how Jenny is none the wiser. How I know Jennifer just moved there, but like people would say, like, you think that Father Brennan would show up and be like, oh hey, how's your wife? You know, but no, he plays it off like, oh, I'm just here to Jerry does, just here to do the plant thing. Yeah, that's it. And she puts her hand on him, and he's like, don't do that. He's thinking, he's trying to play it off like he just met these people and he's not in a relationship, or you know, so he doesn't get up. But they put all that criticism, and to that I say, he does say, I think we should leave town, to Jennifer, because if she wants to be together, he's like, why don't you marry me? He goes, oh, well, I think we should move out of town. Well, why? We should just move there. But it's like, yeah, that would make sense. He must move out of town, away from Christine, so then he can kill Christine and the kid, and then move somewhere else with her and start a new life. And it really starts to break down when he finds out because the kid's just not having anything to do with him. He wants to be with his dad. He wants to go his dad for the summer, and then he finds out that Christine can't have children anymore, and then he starts to freak out because he wants to have children, and then he finds Jennifer and says, "Oh, I can do this," but then for some reason says, "No, I have a family," and I'm like, but it wasn't working. And for all intents and purposes, that relationship is pretty much over. It's really, at this point, it's like the climax of the film, and he knows that the relationship with Christine is not going to work, but he decides he's going to try to stay with it. Only thing I can think of is that he's going to kill Christine and Andy, and then move on. And that's why he's doing it. Move on, move away. But the thing is, I know, he still had the other kid. He's going to kill her, Jennifer, put her in a wood chipper, and then he's going to kill Christine, the other kid, and then move on. That's the only thing I can think of. But we get to the finale where, he knocks out Jennifer, and then Christine tries to fight him. He knocks her down, and then the kid stands up out of the wheelchair and pushes him in the wood chipper. So no more stepfather. And we end. The kid's like, "No, that's fine. I can stand up." Even she didn't see him stand up and do that. And how do you think he got over there? And then he looks back at the wood chipper and is like, "Happy Father's Day, slugger." I don't remember him ever saying it, but overall, this movie was okay. It's too long. There's too much lull and talking and filler stuff. Take a little bit of that out. I like the whole aspect of the kid kind of looking up on the computer and trying to figure out, doing the little murder mystery thing. That's pretty cool. But if I was Jerry and she's like, "Oh, my son, he's in the looking in murder mysteries and figuring things out," I'd be like, "You know what? This isn't going to work out. I'm going to go find someone else." I'd be like, because, that in itself, it's like, oh, he could probably figure out who I am if the kid's like that. I would move on if I was Jerry, but, it's fine. But overall, I would say that when it comes to the Stepfather 3, it's not worth your time. I would watch it as if the two Terry O'Quinn movies were the only ones, and he died at the end of part 2, and then you have the remake, which I haven't seen, so I can't, comment on the quality of it. I just know it's PG-13, and a lot of people were kind of putting their nose down at it, but, it's fine. No, I was about to grab the thing and pick the next one, but then no, that's how it is. But this is a Father's Day review. So, what are your thoughts on the Stepfather 3? Comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.